to Slow Flow. How is everyone today? At least we have another sunny day, which is lovely. I think I'm going to actually adjust the camera for just a moment. There you go. I think that should be fine. Okay, so here we are. 3 days in a row of Slow Flow. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Rebecca Warrington at rjmindbody.com. So today we're going to be practicing our Slow Flow to, let me start again. We're going to be working on our shoulders. I completely screwed that one up. Huh? Anyway, we'll be working on our shoulders today. Yesterday we were concentrating on our heart center. Today it's our shoulders. So let's begin with just sitting up nice and tall as we always start our practice. And I'm guessing some of us might be feeling like we want to run or move a little faster. So I'm going to take you through in a moment through a little bit faster routine to warm up our muscles, move our muscles, and then we're going to do some concentrate on the mobility of our shoulders. So this is really a shoulder rejuvenation. And let's just take a moment here. Let your eyes close or keep your eyes looking towards the ground with a soft gaze. And let's just connect with our breath for the first few moments. So let all the concerns and worries and obligations, just allow them to float out the window. There's nothing to worry about here. So I want you to feel that breath as it fills your rib cage. And then as you exhale, the belly slightly pulls in. It's a little, very small movement, nothing too dramatic. Inhaling into your rib cage and exhaling, letting the belly pull in a touch. Inhaling into the rib cage and then draw the belly in. So you could do this with your eyes closed or open your eyes. I want us to do a few little rocks forward and backwards, still using that breath. So take the inhalation, filling your rib cage, opening up the chest, leaning forward as if you're looking out a window. And then exhaling, sitting back as if you're leaning away from a window. Hands resting on your thighs or on your knees. Let's go back and forth. Inhaling forward, opening up your chest. Exhaling, there's that pulling in through the belly. And inhaling forward. Deep breaths in, opening and expanding, exhaling back. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale forward and exhale back. So it's important that and then let's do that again, that we stay motivated, we stay excited about our practices and our exercise, and just simply by moving. Just a few minutes ago I was jumping around the room. You might want to put music on and come sit up nice and tall and maybe do some dancing. Now I want you to take your left shoulder, lift it up to your ear and roll it back. And then the right shoulder up to your ear and roll it back. Inhale the shoulder up and roll it back. And inhale the right shoulder up and roll it back. Let's go with the left shoulder up towards your ear and roll it forward. Exaggerate this movement as we work these shoulders, rejuvenate the shoulders. Inhale that shoulder up and roll it forward. Inhale the left shoulder up and forward. And one more time on the right side, up towards the ear and forward. Now let's reach the arms up, and this time instead of the hands being on your thighs, I want you to just take your hands and the upper part of your body and circle around Doesn't matter which direction, you can choose whatever direction you wish to start. And let the arms follow the body around in a circle. As you're doing this, pay attention to your shoulders, let them relax, and then let's come forward and just place the hands on the ground. Reach the arms forward. Remember the direction you were moving in before. Dropping your head, stretching through that spine. Let's take an inhale, lift back up. And let's do the circles in the other direction. Whatever direction you started, could go in the opposite. And around and around. Working those shoulders. We spend a lot of time hunched over, sitting on couches, sitting on chairs. So now we're going to change the hunch into more of a backward and upward movement. Release the hands down to the ground. Take an inhale and exhale, soften down. And take a breath in and out. We don't want to, over the next few months, ruin our posture. So let's concentrate on it. And simply by doing these things once a day can be extremely helpful. Then let the arms float down. So from here, I want you to come onto your hands and knees. And let's do a few little cats and cows. Exhaling, rounding. Inhaling through into your cat stretch and inhaling into your cow stretch. Tilting your tailbone up, lifting your heart. Exhaling, rounding, dropping your head down so you're looking between your legs. And then inhale, lift. And round. So you have to, I don't think you could do that. If you could, then you're extremely flexible. And then lift back up. Come into your neutral spine. Sit back to your heels. Now, that's too much. Sit in a cross-legged or put something underneath your heels. I want you to reach your left arm forward. We're going to do a few shoulder circles. Take that left hand and reach it as if you want to grab hold of something in front of you. Then lift your shoulder up, that head of the shoulder, and then pull it back and then lower it down. Really just isolating that shoulder. Inhale, reach that arm forward, lift up towards your ear, pull it back, and then lower it down. Let's do that again. Reach forward. Lift the shoulder up, pull it back, and then down. And then release down. Let's come over to the other side. Reach your right arm forward. We're lubricating our joints. Reach your right arm forward as if you're trying to touch something. Lift the shoulder up towards your ear and draw the shoulder back and then down. Inhaling forward, shoulder up, and then pull it back and then down. Exhale. Inhaling forward, lift up, pull it back, and then down. And then release that hand. I want you to take a moment here to just feel those shoulders. Notice maybe how different they might feel quite different, but they might have dropped a little bit. Because we spend a lot of time with the shoulders lifting up. It's an instinct. When we're stressed or under pressure or we haven't moved enough, we often start to lift our shoulders to our ears without being conscious of it. Let's come onto your hands and knees again. Now come into the forearm, onto your forearms, interlace those hands. From here, make sure the knees are underneath your hips, so you might have to slide them slightly back. Now I want you to inhale into your cow stretch. There'll be a very tiny movement. You won't feel much of anything. But I want you to arch your lower back, lift your chest forward, look towards your thumbs. Then we're going to exhale round through the spine. As you do so, push into those forearms and into the wrists. Round the spine, look towards your knees, and then inhale back into your cow stretch. From here, extend your left leg back and your right leg back. You're now in a forearm plank. Knees can be placed down if you need to. Nothing's wrong with that. Just make sure the knees are behind your hips. And let's hold this for a moment. So looking towards your hands. If you are quite strong, you've done this many times, you can move, you can hinge forward and backwards. So rolling on those toes, rolling towards your hands, chin beyond your hands, or maybe, or not. Back and forth, and then lower the knees down. And then sit back into an extended child's pose, reaching the arms forward, spreading all 10 fingers. Take a breath in, forehead resting on the ground, and let all the tension out. Take an inhale through the nose and go, ah. And inhale and go, ah. Inhale and ah. Then come back up into your tabletop. Exhale into your downward dogs. Stretching, bending, and stretching through the legs. So both legs, let's bend as if you're planning to leap, and then straighten. Back issue people, keep your knees bent. And then, but those without, see if you can press the backs of the knees towards the back of the room. Bring your chest a little bit closer to your thighs, head hanging down. And breathe in, let's hold this. Then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, step your right foot between your hands. Flatten out that back foot and lift all the way up to standing. Heel toe that right foot out to the right just a touch. You want your feet to be hip distance apart, not tight roping one another. And the back toes are pointing to the left corner of the mat. Reach your hands behind you. Interlace them, slide them down your bottom. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. So now you probably notice you're feeling the stretch in the front of your shoulders and in the front of your chest. From here, lift your hands off your lower back and lift your heart a little bit higher. As you do so, press that back heel down. If I could hear you right now, you might be moaning because you're feeling a lot of stretch in the back of that calf, that back calf. That's what we want as well. Now from here, take an inhale, and as you exhale, lean down as if you want to place you can actually do this, place your chest, your belly on your thighs. Lift your arms up. If you wish to go further, you can drop your head all the way down. This is called ostrich. Keep your right knee bent and make sure it's not beyond your ankle. So if you're finding this quite hard, you can always grab hold of your scarf or your belt, not your mat, but your belt, and hold on to that instead of your fingers. And then place your hands back on onto your lower back and lift back up. Keep your legs exactly as they are. Just take your left hand and slide it down that left thigh and reach your right arm up. And stretch towards that back leg. So your palm has spun, your right palm has spun to the back of the room. And stretch out the back of that leg, the right side of your body. And then take an inhale and exhale. This time I want you to place your right arm on your right thigh and take your left foot and slide it to the left side of the mat with your left toes pointing now, or slightly turned in, but you're tight roping your feet at this point. Your hips are pointing to the left side. Right arm on top of that thigh. Spin that right palm up. I want you to take your left hand, bring it behind your back. See if you can grab hold of the top of the thigh. We may have done this yesterday, but I want to concentrate on the shoulder, the left shoulder. Push into that bottom arm. Now if you want to go a touch further, straighten that front leg. Slide that right hand down. Anywhere, place that hand anywhere but your knee. If you happen to have a block, you can place it on the block. And then take your left shoulder, draw it slightly further, draw it back a little bit further. And then take an inhale, and then rebend your front knee, lift back up. Now you're in warrior 2. Now from here, just spin your toes forward. You're paralleling your mat now. And let's release all the way down into a forward bend. Let your head drop. I'm not dropping because I'm needing to speak, but let your head drop and your hands can either stay on the ground or if you wish, hold on to your ankles and bend and straighten your legs, or if you like, you can bend one leg and straighten the other leg and go back and forth. Whatever feels good for you. And then take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's lift up halfway. Fingertips on the ground in front of you. You're creating a flat spine with your legs apart. And then from here, take your hands on your hips. You can either roll up if you have back issues with the knees bent, or lift up, leading with your heart, coming all the way up to standing. Now I want you to spin your left foot to the front of the mat. So you might now be in a position where you can't see me. Just turn around and make sure your left foot is now pointing forward so that you can actually see me. Actually, we're back into our warrior 2s. So flatten out that back foot. The left foot, walk it over a few inches to the left. Back toes pointing to the front right corner of the mat. Hips are forward, interlace those hands with the unfamiliar clasp, if you can remember. Slide the hands down your bottom and then lift your arms up behind you. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, so opening up the front of your shoulders, and then exhale, lean down. And see if you can get your belly on your left thigh. And if you want to go further, drop your head completely and lift your arms a little higher. Using your, either interlacing the hands or using a strap or a scarf. And breathe in and breathe out. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, lift back up. Keep your legs exactly where they are. Left knee is bent. Take your right hand, slide it down your back leg. Inhale your left arm up, spin the palm to the back of the room, and bend over that back leg. Take an inhale and exhale. And then take a breath in. And as you breathe out, release that left hand down. So now you're going to heel toe that left foot to the right a few inches. And just turn your back toes out. So they're not, they're now at not as much of a, they're not at a 45-degree angle, they're a little bit less. They're slightly turned in as opposed to all the way to the corner. So now your hips are squared to the right side. From here, place your left forearm on your left thigh. Knee stays above the ankle. Right hand on your right hip first, and then slide it back behind you. Now either grab and hold of clothing, or if perchance you can grab hold of the inner thigh, that left inner thigh. Open up your right shoulder, so simply by taking that right shoulder and pressing it back, pushing into that left thigh. Opening up, take a breath in, and take a breath out. Now from here, you can choose to stay where you are or straighten that front leg and slide your left hand down. Anywhere, place it anywhere but your knee. Open up that right shoulder. And then inhaling, rebending your left knee. Taking that right hand from behind you and then opening the arms into warrior two. And then turning your toes, left toes forward, paralleling your mat. So if you happen to be, you can't see me again, then just turn your body around and then come all the way down into your forward bend. This time we bend and straighten our leg. So either hands on the ground or on your ankles. Let your head drop. Forward bends are quite calming. They turn on the relaxation response. So we want to do quite a few forward bends when we're anxious. But then we also sometimes need to be energized. So that's where back bends. And some of the postures we just did were at that. To open up our shoulders, we're a little bit of a back bendy type of posture. So you're getting some back bends for energizing. Then straighten the legs. Let's walk your hands forward again until we're halfway. Take your tailbone, lift it up, and then either roll up or place your hands on your hips and lift up, leading with your heart. Only if your back can cope with that. Heel toe, your feet together. And let's come to the front of your mat. At the front of your mat, you're going to do some figure eights, loosening up your hips. But as you loosen your hips, you're going to be loosening your shoulders. Now, you can use your hands as well, arms as well. Often we do this with our hands on our hips, but let's circle our shoulders by moving our arms back, as if we're doing a backstroke. And the most important thing is that our neck doesn't stay rigid. Involve the neck in the movement as well, as if we're dancing, which actually that's what we are. We're dancing. And take your arms forward this time, as if you're doing a freestyle stroke, or crawl, or whatever you call it. But still figure eighting your hips. So one of the things that's really cool about, I suppose not really cool, it's what we can do when we're isolating, we can't leave our homes. We really have to be very creative, which is sometimes is hard, but we're being forced to be creative. So if, in terms of movement, it might be you just get up, you put some fun music on, and you start to move. So let's take your left hip up, and then your right hip, and your left, and your right. So if family members are having fun and giggling, just tell them to join in. And then let's just bring the arms up. This is a very sexy move, but it's also very powerful. I want your hands are circling above your head, so you're holding onto your hands. And I want you to circle your hips to the left or to the right, wherever you started, it doesn't matter. And follow it with your arms. As you do so, use your shoulders. Circle these shoulders. Lubricate those joints. Because we don't want to end up with problems with our shoulders, frozen shoulders and things like that, which could happen in everyday life. It doesn't have to be just now. And then let's go in the other direction with the hips, as if we're hula hooping our hips. So if you have children, they happen to be joining in, let them join in. This is good for them as well. And then come back to center. And let's reach your arms up. And let's exhale, come all the way down into a forward bend. And now notice how good and awake you feel. This is what we want. We need to feel awake and strong and alive. And then exhale, downward dog. I'm going to take you into a plank just for a moment. Just for a moment. Some of us may need to lower the knees down. Some of us won't. And you're going to hold and you're looking forward. You're not looking towards me. I don't want you to tweak your neck. Too much looking towards me means you could end up tweaking. So just, look briefly and then come back to looking ahead. And you might start to shake. But shaking is actually good. Those that take my classes regularly, I say that all the time. Our body, when we're under stress, needs to be a little shaky. Because then the stress is dissipating through your body. Out your pores, I don't know, out the pores, but it's dissipating. And then lower the knees down and sit back into a child's. And notice how maybe your heart rate has gone up. And then let's slowly start to lift back up. Let's come onto our right hip. We just did some core strength there and also shoulder strengthening. So mobility, shoulder rejuvenation today. Walk your feet towards the front of the mat. We're going to lower ourselves down. Just take your time here. Don't rush. No rush. No need to hurry. This is your time. This might be your lunch break. Once your head touches the ground, stretch through the legs, stretch through the arms. And then hug your knees into your chest. Let the big toes touch. Open the knees wide. And then push the knees forward and bring the knees back together. And then bring the knees towards you. And then open the knees and push the feet forward. So the knees are forward and then close and then draw the knees in. This time knees together, push the knees forward, open the knees and then draw the knees back towards you. And then together. And then forward with the legs together and then open and together. And let's bring the knees together. And let's take your knees to the right, just for a moment. And then pick your knees back up, and then to the left. And knees back up, give yourself a hug. You can decide at this point, if you planned, you can stay in you can come into your Shavasana and spend the next 5 minutes in your Shavasana. Or roll onto your right side and find your way up into your cross-legged seat. Don't hesitate to take that Shavasana for a few minutes. Or come into your seat and do a few-minute meditation. Or finish with me and get on with your day. So inhale your arms up to the sky. Let the hands touch above your head. And let the hands float to your heart. Thank you for watching another day together. Tomorrow we'll be working on core strength. I want to remind people that tomorrow night, every Tuesday and Thursday night, we have an hour-long class. I think a few people joined from this class to our Tuesday yesterday. So they're a little bit more intensive, obviously longer, because they're 30 minutes longer, 60 minutes. And then Saturday morning class, which is a fabulous way of starting your morning, 60 minutes. Just to ask, if you happen to be Instagrammers, tweeters, Facebookers, taking pictures of you practicing with me, whether I've had a lot of pictures of me on the screen and your mats on the ground, and just beautiful pictures being posted in Instagram and Facebook, and just mention, hashtag or RJ Mind Body and hashtag live online yoga. That would be really helpful to get the message to everyone. So then spread the word to the world. This is Rebecca Warrington at rjmindbody.com. Namaste.